dead. It's not the end.
Death has a way of stripping away illusions. When the spotlight fades and the applause goes silent, the truth often steps forward, quiet, raw, and impossible to ignore. In Hollywood, where image is everything, some of the most powerful stories are the ones we never hear until it's too late. Stories of silent suffering, unseen courage, moral stands taken in private, and acts of generosity that never made the headlines. Behind the awards, the box office numbers, and the carefully managed personas, real lives were being lived, sometimes in pain, sometimes in resistance, sometimes in extraordinary dignity. These are not scandals. These are revelations, truths that deepen our understanding of who these artists really were, beyond the roles they played. In this video, we uncover the powerful things the world only learned after Black actors passed away, hidden chapters that reshape their legacies and challenge how we remember them. If these stories matter to you, stay with us. Like, share, and subscribe, because some truths deserve to be heard. Chadwick Boseman, the real superhero, was off-screen. When Chadwick Boseman died in August 2020, the world was stunned, not just because we lost the king of Wakanda, but because no one knew he had been fighting for his life. In 2016, Boseman was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer. By the time he passed, it had progressed to stage 4. For 4 years, he carried that truth in silence. During that same period, he filmed Black Panther, Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, and delivered a haunting final performance in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Between takes, he was undergoing chemotherapy and radiation, yet on set, he never complained. He never asked for special treatment. Colleagues recalled a man who showed up prepared, focused, and fully committed every single time. What makes his story even more powerful is what he did away from cameras. While battling cancer himself, Boseman visited children with cancer in hospitals, offering them hope without ever revealing he was fighting the same disease. He chose strength over sympathy, purpose over publicity. Chadwick Boseman didn't just play a hero, he lived like one, and we didn't even know it. Cicely Tyson, the woman who chose dignity over fame. Cicely Tyson never chased success the way Hollywood expected her to. Instead, she challenged it. After her passing in 2021, stories surfaced revealing just how many lucrative roles she turned down, not because they lacked prestige, but because they lacked dignity. Tyson refused to portray Black women as stereotypes, even when saying yes would have made her richer and more visible. She once initially rejected Sounder, fearing it might reinforce harmful imagery. Only after carefully reading the script did she realize it honored the strength of a Black family. That decision earned her an Academy Award nomination. She later turned down the lead role in Claudine because she felt the character was written as too much of a victim. Tyson often disappeared from Hollywood for years at a time, not due to lack of opportunity, but because she would rather not work at all than compromise her principles. Long before conversations about representation became mainstream, Cicely Tyson understood that images shape identity. Her legacy proves that integrity can outlast fame, and sometimes saying no is the most powerful role of all. Michael Clarke Duncan, the gentle giant guided by faith. On screen, Michael Clarke Duncan often played men who looked terrifying, powerful, intimidating, unforgettable. But after his death in 2012, those who truly knew him revealed a very different man. Duncan was deeply spiritual, humble, and gentle at heart. Despite his towering 6'5" frame, he was known for kindness, prayer, and quiet gratitude. While filming The Green Mile, cast and crew shared that Duncan regularly prayed before emotionally heavy scenes. He often led prayer circles on set, grounding himself not in ego, but in faith. Raised by a single mother in Chicago, he never forgot his roots. Even after success, he sent money home and helped anyone who needed support. Tom Hanks once said Duncan was the opposite of the characters he portrayed, soft-spoken, generous, and thoughtful. He thanked God for every opportunity, no matter how small. Michael Clarke Duncan's true strength wasn't physical, it was spiritual. Behind the roles of fearsome men stood a soul defined by humility, compassion, and unwavering belief. Whitney Houston, a voice that carried everyone else. Whitney Houston's death shocked the world, but what emerged afterward was a heartbreaking truth about her life behind the fame. Despite earning millions, her finances were deeply strained, not because of recklessness alone, but because she was quietly supporting nearly everyone around her. Family members, friends, extended relatives, Whitney became their safety net. After her passing, it was revealed that she paid for school tuition, medical bills, housing, and entire lifestyles. If someone needed help, Whitney didn't hesitate. She wrote a check. Her cousin Dionne Warwick later explained that Whitney felt responsible for those she loved. She believed her success meant she owed others comfort and security. But generosity without boundaries comes at a cost. Some people took advantage of her kindness, growing dependent instead of independent. Her mother later shared that Whitney carried guilt about her fame and believed sharing it was her duty. That emotional weight drained her spirit as much as her finances. Whitney Houston gave the world her voice, but offstage she gave away herself. Her legacy reminds us that even legends need protection, not just praise. Jeanette Dubois, the woman behind the song everyone knows. For decades, audiences laughed at Jeanette Dubois as the sharp-tongued, stylish neighbor on Good Times. What most people never knew until after her death was that she was also the creative force behind one of the most iconic TV theme songs of all time. Yes, Jeanette Dubois co-wrote Movin' On Up, the unforgettable opening for The Jeffersons. She wrote the song alongside Jeff Barry, creating an anthem of Black upward mobility that defined an era. Yet for years, her musical contribution remained largely unrecognized. Dubois wasn't just an actress, she was a singer, songwriter, dancer, and writer, with a career that stretched far beyond sitcom punchlines. Those who worked with her described her as disciplined, intelligent, and fiercely proud of Black culture. She understood the power of music and television to shape identity and aspiration. While audiences saw comedy, she was quietly building legacy. Jeanette Dubois didn't just help us laugh, she helped generations believe in progress. Her story reminds us that some of the most influential creators work in the shadows, letting the work speak long after they're gone. Paul Winfield was one of the most versatile actors of his generation. From Sounder to Star Trek to The Terminator, he could play strength, vulnerability, authority, and warmth with equal ease. Yet behind that celebrated career was a life shaped by secrecy. After his death in 2004, it became widely known that Winfield had spent decades hiding his sexuality to protect his career. At a time when being openly gay could end an actor's livelihood, Winfield chose privacy over authenticity. He shared a loving, committed relationship with set designer Charles Gillen Jr. for more than 30 years, but the public never knew. Hollywood wasn't ready, and he paid the price in silence. Friends later spoke about how carefully he navigated interviews and roles, always aware that one wrong move could lead to typecasting or exclusion. The emotional toll of living a double life was heavy, but Winfield endured it to keep working. Paul Winfield gave the world unforgettable performances, yet was denied the freedom to fully be himself. His legacy stands as both triumph and tragedy, a reminder of how many artists sacrificed truth just to survive. Bernie Mac, laughing while fighting for breath. Bernie Mac made pain disappear, at least for his audience, but behind his booming voice and fearless comedy was a battle he kept almost entirely private. For years, Bernie lived with sarcoidosis, a serious inflammatory disease that primarily affected his lungs. While he made millions laugh, breathing itself was sometimes a struggle. Those close to him revealed after his death in 2008 that there were days he could barely get out of bed. Still, he showed up. He performed stand-up, filmed movies, and carried the Bernie Mac show with relentless energy. He refused to let illness define him or excuse him. His wife later shared that Bernie believed his job was to be strong for others, even when his body was failing him. That strength, however, came at a cost. The disease eventually contributed to his death, shocking fans who never saw weakness on screen. Bernie Mac's legacy is more than comedy. It's resilience. He proved that courage isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just showing up, smiling, and giving everything you have even when you're running out of air. Natalie Desselle-Reid, the comedic star the industry overlooked. Natalie Desselle-Reid had a gift that couldn't be taught: timing. Whether she was stealing scenes in BAPS or lighting up television in Eve, her comedy felt effortless, bold, and fearless. Yet during her lifetime, she rarely received the recognition her talent deserved. It wasn't until after her passing in 2020 that audiences truly began to understand what they had missed. Fans returned to her work and realized how much she carried entire scenes with energy and precision. Her portrayal of Mickey in BAPS was outrageous, unapologetic, and perfectly controlled, a performance that demanded range, not just humor. Social media erupted with tributes, clips, and calls for overdue appreciation, giving her the flowers she never fully received while alive. Those who worked with her knew she was more than comic relief. She was a skilled performer who understood character, rhythm, and emotional balance. Hollywood simply didn't know how to invest in her brilliance. Natalie Desselle-Reid's legacy reminds us that talent doesn't always get rewarded on time. Sometimes the world catches up too late, but true greatness still finds its audience. Gregory Hines was known to audiences as a master of tap, smooth, joyful, and seemingly effortless. But after his death in 2003, a deeper truth came into focus. Hines wasn't just dancing for applause. He was quietly working behind the scenes to lift others up, especially black dancers, who were often overlooked by an industry slow to give them opportunity. Using his influence, Hines recommended performers for jobs, pushed casting directors to diversify productions, and mentored young dancers who needed guidance. He understood that talent wasn't the issue, access was. So he became a bridge, opening doors that had long been closed. He was also passionate about preserving history. Hines made sure legends like the Nicholas brothers were honored, studied, and remembered. To him, dance was culture, not just entertainment. It carried memory, struggle, and identity. Gregory Hines didn't just leave footprints on the stage, he left pathways behind him. His legacy lives in every dancer who found opportunity because someone powerful chose to care. Eartha Kitt, blacklisted for telling the truth. Eartha Kitt was fearless, and she paid dearly for it. In 1968, she was invited to a White House luncheon hosted by Lady Bird Johnson to discuss crime and youth issues. When asked why young people were angry, Kitt spoke honestly. She said they were being sent to die in Vietnam for a cause they didn't believe in. That moment changed her life. Her comments made headlines, and almost overnight her career in the United States collapsed. Television roles disappeared, concert bookings vanished. Eartha Kitt was blacklisted. Government agencies kept files on her, and Hollywood treated her as untouchable. To survive, she left the country and performed in Europe and Asia for years. Only decades later did America welcome her back, introducing her to a new generation as Catwoman. But the cost was enormous, years of lost work for speaking truth to power. Eartha Kitt's legacy is courage. She proved that integrity can be dangerous, but silence is far more costly. She didn't just entertain, she stood her ground. Their stories didn't end when their lives did. In many ways, that was when the truth finally began to speak. Death did not erase their impact. It revealed it. The sacrifices they made in silence, the principles they refused to abandon, the people they lifted up without recognition, and the battles they fought away from the cameras all live on as part of their legacy. What these stories teach us is simple but powerful. Greatness is not measured only by fame, awards, or applause. It is measured by integrity, courage, and the choices made when no one is watching. These artists were more than entertainers. They were guardians of dignity, truth, and representation in a system that often tried to deny them all three. As viewers, we carry responsibility too, to remember fully, to look deeper, to honor people while they're still here, and not only after they're gone. If these untold truths moved you, share this video, like, comment, and subscribe so these legacies are never forgotten.